Hey everyone, I'm Dr. Mark Leonard. This is my beautiful bride, Becky
What's
Leonard. Today's 15th. The day 15.
Day 15. We've done 15 days of videos now.
This is awesome. Okay, we've shared a lot over the past 15 days, right?
We have.
A little peek into our life.
It's a little hard to come up with content. Like, what are we going to talk about today? We have plenty to talk about, though. It's just honing in what?
Which, yeah, because I could talk for hours.
About nothing and everything all at the same time.
Alrighty.
Right?
Yes.
Oh, hey, where's my phone?
Oh, I don't know.
I need to
it's
share
right here.
this little video.
Okay.
We got to share it to all the
Share
places.
it.
Okay. We have got
Well, we had a great
the
question.
answer to a question, yeah.
Yeah, so someone asked, okay, you guys obviously have a crazy life with 6 kids, and how did you keep order? It seems like my kids' rooms are always a disaster. And
Check.
What did you do about it? And
Wait, before we go any further, let's just say everybody's kids' rooms are a disaster.
right?
Everybody's. And this goes back to what we were talking about before. Like, stop judging somebody's perfect room that you saw when you happened to visit, or that on Instagram looked perfect.
Yes. Oh, I love those Instagram photos where like the mom is laying on the bed with the babies, and I'm just sitting here going, and what is the husband hanging from? Does he have like a harness up above?
Right?
Like what is that, Mission Impossible? And he's trying to get up above to take a picture.
Yes.
Drops the phone, hits her on the nose. Oh, okay, where are we going on this?
Have you ever done that? Hit yourself in the face with your phone? Especially like when you're in bed trying to read and then like you doze
You
and
get
you're
tired. Did you share this?
No, I keep getting distracted by you.
Okay. We interrupt this message to allow us to share what it is that we're doing. Oh my goodness gracious.
Okay.
Life is always entertaining around the Leonard household, right?
Always.
Always. You know, I was thinking about this. We've had like a couple people, like our son-in-law, come over recently, and the past couple times he walks in and we're sitting on the couch, and I started thinking about it today. He must think that we are the biggest lazies on the face of the planet.
Because we're under the couch and under blankets all the time.
Yes, and it's not that at all. It is
No.
not that at all.
We just know when to take a breath
Yeah, so
for just a moment.
it's in preparation for them coming over. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right?
All right, so let's. So we are going to talk about the 4 secrets. Woo! 4 secrets to getting your kids to do what you ask. Oh man.
And we will preface this with, these are just things that we have applied that have sometimes worked for us.
I'm going to re-edit what she said and say, our children are perfect.
They are perfect.
So
just like yours.
They're like, they do it before we ask.
And they are true.
Some of them.
But they are imperfectly perfect.
Yes.
Yes. Just like all of us.
As my child
Right?
is in timeout. Amen,
Brittany,
right?
yes, 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 yes.
All right, so what are the 4 secrets? Hey, why don't you go first? Ooh, I know.
I feel like this is a good one for you.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is that the expectation?
The
first one-
expectation is
The
that you go
first one, the first secret to getting your kids to do what you want them to do is, drumroll please, clear expectations. I love when we as parents revert back into that laziness and we're all, just go do what we ask. And we roll our eyes, right? And we're like, oh, and we do the exact same thing that we ask our teenagers not to do.
Or we assume that they know.
Right.
That because we said something that they assume that they know exactly what we mean.
Just be very clear about it. If you want the dishes to be done, and especially when they're younger and they're learning, maybe you need to sit there and do it with them. Maybe that's a great time to talk about what's going on in their day at school as they're doing dishes and you're sitting on the other side just kind of chatting.
I feel like the hardest job for a mother is to let their children learn through experience.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. Because I just want to get the dishes done. or I just want to get the laundry folded. And I know that they need to do it and I need to teach them how to do it, but teaching them how is going to take 5 times longer to get done than just doing it myself.
Yes. So allow that time to happen. Allow that experience of just, they're not going to do it perfect. And that's okay.
That is okay.
Because when's the last day that your first time on the job, did you do everything perfect? No, you need those clear expectations. I like to follow a model that I utilize in my teaching, which is something called show, know, do, and review. So you show them how to do it. What is expectation? This is what it looks like. Let me teach you how to do that. All right, I'm going to allow you to do that, and now we're going to review how you did it. See? Show, know, do, review. It's something that I utilize in teaching, and it's something that works with parenting. Okay, setting the clear expectation. Number 2.
Which goes right into number 2. So Mark had a doctorate class years ago, and he came home from that class, and one of my kids, probably, I mean, how old were the kids at this point? I don't know. It was probably
one of them that's watching. What?
One of my kids had cleaned the bathroom and had done a less than stellar job, and I, being me, was like, okay, you just need to go in and you need to do this, this, and this again. Like this has to be fixed. And Mark was like, okay, hold on just a second, back up. He's like, start with what they did well.
Yes.
Praise them for the things that they got right, and then follow it up with the things that they need to correct, because then they feel better about what they're doing.
So let me give you an example. For those of you that have children that are in school, when you get the report card, what is the very first grade that you look at?
The C.
Because
we hope it's a C.
No, look at the A's. Look at the highest marks first. Praise them for what they have accomplished and talk about how great they've done on those things. I bet that was really hard to get an A in English class. Oh, it was. You see, when you praise them, it's going to help them so that now as you move into so let's talk about what happened here. Let's talk about the C. Or in my case, I've always had straight A's. No. We have some friends that are like, oh no, my kids must get a 4.0. Us, we're all, look, out of our 6 children, they have different strengths and weaknesses. We ask if they've done their best.
Yeah.
And we always strive to praise them, to help them achieve more. So praise is number 2.
Yeah. Yeah, so it was crucial. And I noticed a big change in my kids when I started with the thing that they had done really well. Like, oh my goodness, look how sparkling this bathroom is. Hey, if you could just touch up this little thing and this little thing, you are good to go. And then they were like, oh, okay, I've almost got this, right?
So I have a daughter, and we better hurry the story before she gets home so she doesn't hear me share it. She had just finished a soccer game, and she was really, really brutal on herself. A lot of self-negative talk. I said, all right, hang on. Let's talk about this, Abby. And all of a sudden she goes, Dad, I don't want to hear about all the things I did right. And I chuckled. I said, really? And she goes, I'm just upset, okay? I said, that's fine. Let's take a few moments of silence. She goes, yeah, that'd be great. So, hey, there you go. And then we moved into, let's talk about all the things that you did right.
That's so good. I didn't know that happened.
It was an awesome drive. All right, so number 1 was clear expectations. Number 2 is give plentiful praise. Number 3, oh, am I doing this one? Consistency? Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. Oh, wait. No, which one are we doing?
Oh, I just was thinking about plentiful praise. Praise doesn't mean that you don't address the things that they need help with. I just need to end on that. It's okay. It kind of goes back to gratitude. Dang it, we didn't do that.
What? Oh, yeah. Start with gratitude.
Gratitude. List below something you're grateful for.
Quick. Everyone, stop what you're doing and type, what are you grateful for?
Did we give you
Okay,
enough
got
time?
enough. All right. So it's really vital that we always share something that we're grateful for. So make sure you write below something that you're grateful for. I'll start right now as I go into number 3. I am grateful for the morning routines that we had when we were feeling more successful before Christmas break. And that we began to resurrect those today. I am grateful for those.
I'm grateful for moments when I can see the fruits of my labors.
Yes, absolutely.
They do come from time to time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, and I love that Brittany and
Yes.
Christine, you guys are awesome.
Yes,
Thank you
good
very
job.
much. Okay, so number 3 is consistency. I love this idea of consistency. If you have a schedule, by the way, kids happen to love schedules. Even when they say they don't, it was an amazing thing. Have you ever watched kids at the end of a break? They'll be like, oh, I don't want to go back to school, but I'm also ready. So really? Why are you ready? And they'll say, and they said it just last week, I'm ready to get back to what we were doing. They like the schedule. Have a consistency.
Yeah.
And
so I did this years ago, speaking to clear expectations, praise. So, dang it. It's backwards. Okay.
But you know what that says.
Okay. So years ago, I put this together. I read this lady called the, what is she called?
I don't know.
I don't remember right now. I'll give her credit when I remember her name. The something lady. The anyway. I read this blog of hers where she breaks the house into zones and then every day does a little piece. And she's like, you don't need to start and do everything at once and then keep up on it. She's like, just start somewhere and then consistently every day work on a piece, and before you know it, everything will be in order and in place. Well, I was like, well, I'm not doing that alone because this is my family's job, not just mine. So I broke our house.
No, hang on. That was really key what you just said. This is the family's job. It is not the mom. It is not the dad. It is not a singular person. Everyone lives there, and it is the family's responsibility to kick in and work together.
Yeah. Yeah, otherwise you're burning yourself out, and your kids become entitled. They're like, well, I don't need to do it because mom's going to do it.
I've got to tell you, when I teach classes, I could tell who's an only child and who is not. I could tell which families have learned to work together and which ones have not. Because as soon as we talk about a group project, the ones that are only children that have never learned, and it's okay if you're an only child, there's other places to learn how to work with teams, but it's fascinating to see and go, oh yeah, you don't play well with others. And it's obvious. Everyone needs to pitch in together.
So we set expectations. Brush and floss your teeth. That was crucial, right?
Yep.
Stay out of the dentist's office. Make your bed. Pick up your room. Scriptures. That was really important for our family. This was an expectation. We're going to, I always tell my children, nothing is more important than your relationship with the Lord.
Right.
Period. And so it became a, not just a routine, but it became a
mantra, motto.
Right.
Core
but it was
value.
our family's, it was a core value. So scriptures and prayers.
Oh,
then,
and Christine, by the way, with our son who has ADHD, it just took a lot more patience and effort, but he ended up doing very, very well on all of these things because we picked his favorite color, and it was an orange magnet on one side and black on the other. And so he had the opportunity to turn the blacks over to orange when he completed it, and he was able to mark what he did, and it was awesome.
With a lot of these things that we're talking about, we learned through 6 children. We didn't just get it right on the first one. Let's point that out. And a lot of it came through, our third is the one that has ADHD. So if one of our first
2 are watching, we're sorry.
We're sorry.
And we love you, and we did the best we could. But we didn't have a Becky and Dr. Bro or Happiness Dude to help us.
Right?
Right?
We did the best we could at the time with the information we had.
Amen.
But we learned things like start with praise because of our third. He was our ADHD child, and he didn't respond to just get it done. So we had to be really patient about reminding him, and really, really good at praising him and focusing on the things he was doing well. And the more that we focused on those things, the more he responded. And the reality is we should have been like that with all of our children. It just took him to get there.
So, by the way, with each one of these, to help with that meeting the expectations and clear expectations, we had a write-up of what we expected.
I did. I
So
should just
that
post it so
they
you can see it.
Could see what that meant to pick up the room. And they had a checklist that went along with it.
It
And
was really detailed, so they
Yeah.
knew exactly what I expected of them.
it was absolutely fantastic.
So then what I did is I divided our whole house into zones.
Stacey,
I did.
You made my day. The first few
Are an
always an
experiment.
experiment.
So be kind to yourself.
Yes,
And when your kids grow up, they'll understand.
because they'll have kids and they'll do it
And
too.
they'll have experiments too.
Yeah, that's why we had 6.
Yeah.
We knew we had we were hedging our bets to know if we could actually do it right or not.
There you go. So there it was, and that was consistent, and we had daily responsibilities that were all laid out on this paper. If they didn't understand it, then all they had to do was refer to the paper and be like, oh, okay. And then when they would flip that little magnet over, I would then say, did you vacuum? Mm-hmm. Did you dust? Did you whatever for that zone for the week? It was beautiful. It was,
Yeah.
and it just went so well. And here's the interesting thing, and I'm not going to guarantee this will happen for all of you. I feel a little bit just blessed, and maybe I lucked out. But our youngest 2 do things on their own. We don't even utilize that anymore because they see it and they do it. But they had 4 other siblings that did everything they were supposed to do. It became routine in our house.
It was the culture. They grew up with that was the expectation. We no longer needed the checklist to show them how it was to be done. They knew that was the expectation, and they just went and did it.
That's true.
And
And they're the last 2.
Yes.
And they're now older, and so our house just doesn't get dirty as it did when there was 6 little ones at home.
No.
Absolutely, Megan, you are never failing.
No.
Never failing just because you have to repeat yourself 3 gazillion times.
That's okay.
You're never failing if it doesn't all get done in the day, which comes to this. I
This
love
is
that you said
the
that.
segue.
Yes. Here's the last point. Choose your battles. Sometimes it's more important to have it not get done. I literally would have days where I'm like, we're done. I've fought it enough times. We're going to revisit this tomorrow because I need to be a better mom than I'm being right now.
And it's okay to step away, right? You need to know your own limitations. And so choose your battles with you correctly. Because if you exceed what you're capable of doing and you become angry, agitated, mean, or anything like that, guess what? That's not doing anyone any service, and you're not teaching anything. If you're no longer teaching with love, patience, kindness, with forgiveness and mercy, you are no longer being an example of Christ to your children.
It's true. I grew up in a home with parents that yelled. That's how they got everything done. That was just the way it was.
Stacey, we are for hire. You can fly us out. We will help you implement this. Absolutely.
Yes.
I didn't realize
we'll be the nannies, right?
Yes. I didn't realize that was part of our business arm, but it is now. We have our first client. Stacey, we are coming to visit you.
That would be the best ever.
Right. I think we would talk more than get anything done.
Right. So when our 4th was an infant, you guys, I tell this story with expectation that you don't judge. You just listen and feel compassion and mercy. When our 4th was an infant, we lived in this small town, and the windows were thin, and I was a big yeller. I yelled a lot. And at this point, we had, I think our oldest was, 6 down to newborn. So 4 of them, they were all young, and I was tired. I was so tired. And I just yelled a lot. And one day, one of our church leaders came to us and was like, hey, we've started a new parenting class, and we would love for you to join us. And we'll even provide the daycare for your children so that you can go to this parenting class. And we were like, that's awesome. Let's do it. Well, years later, I can say I am sure their neighbors heard us yelling. I'm sure of
The
it.
windows were open.
I'm sure.
Yes.
I'm sure that it was on display for the neighborhood, but it was the biggest blessing that ever happened to us. The Lord heard my crying prayers every night when I went to bed, feeling terrible about the way I was parenting. And we went to this parenting class, and it was on parenting with love and logic. I love it.
Yes.
It revolutionized our lives. I stopped yelling. I stopped getting frustrated. There was just natural consequences for your actions, and it took time. It got worse before it got better. Our kids tested us on every single limit.
And then some.
And then some.
Yes.
And so we had this thing where kids were missing the bus all the time because I couldn't get them going and I was yelling and then I was driving them to school all the time. And so I told them one day, if you don't get going, if you miss the bus, then you're going to stay in your room during the duration of school. And they tried us once.
Oh, by the way,
It's
you
still
do it once with the older kids, the legend lives on.
It's true.
No, it's true because was it Andrew? Was it Andrew that missed the bus and had to stay in his room all day?
I think so.
I think it was.
And he didn't miss the bus again.
No.
We told our kids at the beginning of every year, you can forget your lunch or your homework or whatever once. And we would be happy to run it to the school for you. But after that, then it is your responsibility to remember. And if you don't, I'm sorry.
And here's the way I look at it, because life's tuition is more valuable than college tuition. That's coming with someone with a doctorate, okay? Life's tuition is more valuable than your college tuition. And what I mean by that is, you know, if you are going to go and rescue your children
All the time,
what are they learning? Amen, Stacy. I tried to stick them on a random bus. I love it. She homeschools her kids.
You guys, the things I'm hearing from you, they are so real. Keep it coming. But
so, you know, it's a marvelous thing that happens when you bring this time the first time and you remind them, this was your one. This was your one. I love you, but I'm not able to stop everything I'm doing every day to bring your lunch. They won't starve.
Well, there were even times where it was...
Or your homework. And hang on just a half second here.
Yeah.
So it's interesting what happens to you internally when they text or call and they say, Mom, Dad, I forgot my homework. It's due today. And it's worth a big part of my grade.
And your heart sinks.
And you want to rescue them. But trust me, your children will get into college.
And they get it. They learn. Our kids don't forget things. On the rare occasion that they have, and it was a serious emergency and it needed to happen, we're still there for them and they know that. There have been times where I said, okay, I will do this for you, but then the consequence is that you need to do this for me because I'm having to take time out of my day and the things that I have to get done in order to do this for you. So you're going to need to do something for me. Like natural consequences just revolutionized my life. And then going back to consistency, you can't threaten something that you're not willing to follow through on.
Idle threats
because your
will
children
destroy trust.
No, they're brilliant.
Yes.
Children figure it out fast. If you threaten something that like I'm going to leave you in the store, heck no, you're not going to leave them in the store.
It doesn't make sense.
Like your children know you're not going to leave them in the store, so they're not going to act any better. Excuse me, my daughter was telling me a story about how her daughter was acting up the other day. And so our son-in-law put her in a timeout in the store. And she's like carrying on and like having a full-on conniption. And you know what happened? This old man gave them a look like, you're abusing your child. And she was like,
hey.
They threatened something that they were willing to follow through on that was an appropriate consequence. And it took care of the situation.
How many of you have been driving down the road and you're like, don't make me pull this car over? And guess what?
Oh, I do pull that car over.
Pull it over, put them out on the curb on a timeout. There's nothing wrong with that.
Nope.
There's nothing wrong with that. Don't do it in a place where they can get run over. That's dumb. But do it in a place that is following through on that expectation. So you have clear expectations. You're going to praise the dickens out of them. You are going to be consistent and you are going to choose your battles, especially the battles that you have with you.
Oh, speaking to, I can't think on my feet. I can't either.
There will be consequences.
There were many a time where I said, well, we actually would have our children pick consequences. What do you think? And what's interesting is that they often would come up with something that was a harsher punishment that I thought was appropriate. And sometimes we would say, okay, that's what we're going to do. And other times we'd say, you know what, I think you need to try again. Sometimes it wasn't hard enough. But I didn't always come up with consequences on my feet. Quite often it was, I need to think about this and I'll get back to you. And I would even say, I don't want to say something that I would regret right now, and I need to have some time, and I need you to have some time, and we're going to think about it, and we're going to revisit it later.
But make sure you do that. And our kids now, they despise that comment of, well, why don't you come up with some consequences? Boy, kids want to be pleasers. You want to please your parents. You never want to disappoint them. Even as adults, kids are the same way. Put some of that on them appropriately and allow them to battle with some of that and then come back with consequences. And like Becky said, you know, I don't think that's the right consequence.
I've told my kids, I don't think that's fair. I think maybe that's too harsh for this situation.
Boy, watch their eyes light up when you say that. They will be like, wait, what just happened? Of course, then the next time they try to do a really small one and you'll just say, I don't think that's the right consequence for this situation. Maybe you need to try again. See, it's the exact same thing.
It is.
Yeah. All right, you guys. Our 4 major secrets to parenting, to grandparenting.
Hopefully you laughed a little bit.
By the way, it works when you run your businesses as well. All right, you guys.
True.
I know.
You're awesome.
You're awesome.
And you guys are awesome too. We appreciate you so much. I have not gotten to read all these comments because, but we will answer them. Keep asking us questions. It's fun to chat with you guys.
Great question,
It's fun to hear what you have to say. Thank you for participating with us.
Okay, have a great afternoon. See ya.
Bye, guys.